And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a show about shows, episode 54. Baby, you're a firework, Dutch. This is July 4th. About an hour left of July 4th, anyway, here. I'm, of course, one of your hosts, Jordan Pierce Owens, joined by, as always,
I'm Dutch McAllister. I was so blown away by that. I'm a firework, but I want to see your body work though instead. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. It's 4th of July, celebration of our country. Of course, we're doing a lot different than usual. We're not around people mostly. I'm hearing fireworks, but I am not
I was going to say,
participating.
this is the usual now, but yeah, 4th of July wise, yes.
Yeah, beaches are closed. Everyone's just basically.
You ever done the beach, Jim? I did that once, and I didn't like it at 4th
I,
of July.
I have done the beach. I think the last time I did it, it was, I'd probably say about 15. And I went down with a whole bunch of friends. And then after that, I just walked all the way from the pier area all the way to the 7-Eleven way out there. And I was like, can somebody come and get me? Because I need help. I just don't want to be here anymore.
So you didn't love it.
No, I don't like the beach. That's the problem. I don't like the beach.
I've always found the beach very overrated, but especially on 4th of July, I was just like, this thing is packed. It's not that fun. Like, I don't know. I didn't love it. Once the fireworks began, yeah, there's some nice moments, but otherwise, I'm cool in my backyard or at a friend's house.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly because plus the lines to the bathroom aren't much. I know you could just go to the beach and just go with air, but the water, I mean.
What do you do in the ocean? Nothing.
Nothing. I'm relaxing. That's all I'm doing. But yeah, let's kick this off because I have a vision in my brain. It's a Eurovision Song Contest story and fire saga we have when aspiring musicians Lars and Sigrid are given the opportunity of a lifetime to represent their country at the world's biggest song competition. They finally have a chance to prove that any dream is a dream worth fighting for. This has the comedian Will Ferrell, Rachel McAdams, Dan Stevens, Pierce Bronson, Demi Lovato, and Graham Norton, who I find fascinating as well. You watched this. I didn't get a chance. It just started on Netflix, I think, this week. How did you like that, Jordan?
Yeah, newly dropped film on Netflix there. Is it Ferrell's first Netflix venture? I believe so.
I believe it is.
Going the Sandler route, and it's about as good as a recent Adam Sandler movie. There's a couple moments in here, couple of repeated lines, and kind of get a chuckle here and there. But I don't know. I was just very ho-hemmed by this. I didn't have him laugh that much. It's longer than it should be. That means including the title too. He loves those long titles. Talking Night, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby. I think even Anchorman has a longer title, depending. Ron Burgundy. So yeah, another long title, too long of a movie, and unlike a movie like King of Staten Island, like you feel it here. And yeah, I don't know. It's just he's another man-child. We've seen it done before. It reminded me of Blades of Glory, which I think is another one of his okay movies. Very much in that vein here. They're both trying. Even McAdams is funny. I don't believe the chemistry here. They're also supposed to be the same age, and they're obviously about 12 years apart, which is obvious, but that's Hollywood for you.
Well, one moisturizes and the other one doesn't, it seems, then.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just think it's very going to be forgettable, maybe fine movie in the afternoon to pass by time here, but it just kind of didn't do a hell of a lot for me. I don't have too much more to say, man. I'm going to give it 2 stars, and that's maybe being too kind, but 2 stars is good for me.
Yeah, I watched the preview about 2 to 3 times to see if I could actually get into it. I just couldn't even in the previews. It just didn't make any sense to me. So I will probably skip this one. I should watch it just because if I do have any issues and I run out of stuff to figure out to watch, I will watch it. But.
Just for a final comedy, if Will Ferrell floats your boat, I do kind of suggest it, like I said, on an afternoon, and it's on Netflix. I think if I bothered going to the theater, I might have even given this less, because it's just there and it passes the time. It's all right.
Oh, okay. Not a bad. It's a bad review, but not a great. It's not a sterling endorsement, but.
Well, let's talk about a film you saw, my man.
Yes.
Oh, well, I'm looking at this cast. All right, I'm going to try to do this right. It's a whisker away. A peculiar girl transforms into a cat. The catcher crushes attention, but before she realizes it, the line between human and animal are blurred. This stars Mirai Shida, Natsuki Hane, and Hiroki Ogi. I think I did that a lot better than you would have. So
Probably.
I
And
like the premise. I don't know what this was about till I actually literally read it just now. So
well, this is
this like that Kevin Spacey cat movie? What's this like?
No, this is better than the Kevin Spacey cat movie. I was actually pointed out to this one, and said, "Hey, watch this. Tell me what you think." And so this is the "what you think" part. But yeah, I got a text message saying this is a great animated film on Netflix. I think this is their first actual original anime where they commissioned it, I believe. I may be off the mark there, but basically, it's a story by the name of I'm gonna butcher some stuff here. Mio Sasaki. She is in love with her classmate, whose name is Kento. Now, to get his affection, she wants to go covert, and so she finds a guy who gives her a mask, a cat mask, and she puts it on, and so she transforms herself into a cat. And so she then gets into Kinto's world, and just basically really, to me, that's a little scary for stalking, but where he would basically blow her belly and all this other weird stuff, because he thinks he's a cat, and it's this girl that's his age who has a big massive crush on her. But it is a trippy little film. This girl is basically very super depressed. It brings up depression a lot in this film, and the relationship that she has with her inner self, and how she thinks that no one really cares for her, and so she overdoes it. She paints that smile on, like sometimes we all do when we're not feeling great. But she does it all the time, and if she does it overboard. So there's that piece of the puzzle. But she is truly in love with this Kento kid, and Kento, doesn't realize that he is also super in love with her until later on. So it's kind of like a romantic, comedy, I guess, almost. It's almost like a comedy because it is comedic parts. It's a little romance. But yeah, I truly enjoyed this film. It didn't get a lot of, there's a little bit of times that it just didn't, land on all fours as a cat would, but at the same time, see, I did something good for once. But yeah, it works. I gave it 3.5 snowflakes for what it is, and it's just a good little trip to see. And if you have a chance, watch it on Netflix. It'll be there for a while now because that's one of their originals.
What'd you give it again, real quick?
Oh, I gave it 3.5. I was teetering on a 4, but I thought 3.5 is a decent slot for this. It's like I said, it's very trippy. If you want to watch it, it's just a little different because it took me a couple seconds. And again, I watched the subbed. You can also get it dubbed as well using American voices if that's how you prefer to watch your anime. But if you just want to just enjoy it, like I did find myself, there's always times when I do subs and I always think, I know Japanese for some reason, and I kind of look away for a minute and I'm like, oh, hold on, I got to go back for a second, But other than that, I enjoy it to do it. It helps me keep my attention to a point.
I was trying to get my cat over here for a joke. Avery! But he's ruining the joke. He's not coming. So
where's Jake?
Jake never comes when I call. Jake, I'm trying to make a joke on air. Come on, somebody.
When you don't want them, they show up.
Yeah, Avery will pop up later. Oh, what? You talking about something else now?
Oh man! So we go from a whisker away. We go to some Desperados, my friend. This movie that you watched is called Desperados. A panicked young woman and her best friends fly to Mexico to delete a ranting email she sent to her boyfriend. This has Nassim Parad and Anna Camp, Sarah Burns, Lamorne Morris. Sorry, Mr. or Mrs. Morris. I don't know who you are. Lamorne? Is that?
Nobody in this world is named Lamorne.
It is possible. Robbie Amell, Izzy Diaz, and Heather Graham. Heather Graham. She must be a parent in this one, right?
No.
It's called Desperados. So tell me what this is all about, buddy.
Man, this one, this makes me yearn for the good old comedies of yesterday, like Eurovision. Uh, at least with Eurovision, I feel like they were trying. They had a premise, they had some characters, some callbacks. This is lacking all of that. It felt like just the perfect example of like a bad Adam Sandler movie where there's just we got kind of a concept and a location. Let's go. Without much of a funny script here, a couple of groaning gags. There's a couple of times that this movie really lost me. An obvious twist to the boyfriend thing that you can call from the first 5 minutes of the movie here. Um, yeah, man, I just thought this was a dud. This is sad too because I'm a big fan of Nassim. She was on SNL real quick for a hot minute, and every time she pops up, I've always thought, oh, she'd be good if she had a real vehicle of her own here. And she's probably the best part. She did have me laughing a couple times, elevating what's left of the dialogue here. And Lamorne or Lamoni, whatever you call him, the guy from New Girl, he's charming a little bit here, but it's just whatever, man. Like even the Heather Graham part, like you can cut that out if you want to do. This is another movie that felt long to me, even though it's probably not. It's probably an hour 40, hour 50, but it feels long just because you're ready for this trip to end. Um, Unsatisfying conclusion, unsatisfying middle, unsatisfying beginning to a degree. Yeah, I don't know. I just didn't find this comedy that funny. It reminded me of Ibiza with Gillian Jacobs from like last year, the year before.
Okay,
Which
can I?
better than this.
I liked Ibiza. I thought that was a fun
It was
little.
fine, but again, it just kind of felt like it was lacking. It had a more. It was just about we're gonna go to a certain country that's vivacious with half script done, and this really felt like the epitome of that. This very much felt like they had the premise here, and then they just felt like, oh, we'll wing in with these kind of gags that don't work. I had more fun with Ibiza. I had more fun with the wrong Missy. Um, yeah, I'm gonna give this one and a half.
So where did they go? I didn't. I was it even in there? Did they go to Mexico or did they go to?
I'm bad with locations. They went somewhere nice. Yeah, I think it is Mexico.
Oh, okay, I didn't even know. Yeah, just Desperados. Oh, they did fly to Mexico. You had it in your streamer. This is the kind of movie I guess it is. Something you forget about.
Now you'll want to forget this one. You're originally going to forget over time. This one you'll want to forget pretty quickly.
Well, okay. We'll forget about Desperados and move it along.
All right, a film that I'm sure will be better than that one. The Five Bloods. Four African American vets battle the forces of man and nature when they return to Vietnam, seeking the remains of their fallen squad leader and the gold fortune he helped them hide. This stars Delroy Lindo, Jonathan Majors, Clark Peters, Norm Lewis, Isaiah Whitlock Jr., Jean Renault, and Chadwick Boseman. Talk me to Five Bloods, man. This is one hopefully I'll have for you next week, but you got to before me.
Yeah, and I'll be honest. I was, you know how I am about Spike Lee films. He's been really wearing thin on me, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it because I love the part of the cast. I love the cast that's in it. I remember Wicklow Jr. Watching him and Delroy Lindo, Jean Reno, and Chadwick Boseman. The other ones I wasn't familiar with their work. So,
you just named the four I was into, so yeah, I know how you feel.
Yeah, so those are and Delroy Lindo, my friend in this film, he is unbelievably great. He basically has had post traumatic shock ever since he came home from Vietnam, and he has a lot of guilt associated out. We find out more as the film progresses, and it's just a great slant on a Vietnam film that we've never seen before, a black person's perspective. Of how they felt like they were, because they were always first on the line most of the time, and and the way they felt like treated throughout the period. And I was like I said, I was taken aback by everyone's performances in this film. Well written. They filmed it, I believe, on location in Vietnam. So I believe so. I was trying to find it in the credits, but I kind of got distracted. And you know how it works. After a while, you're like, oh, they're not getting there. But it looks like it was actually truly done there. And I just thought it was just a great film in which I believe Jonathan Majors plays Delroy Lindo's son. in which he comes in and he didn't want his son to be there to begin with, but he cared about his father and he just wanted some time with his father as well. And it's their relationship is also exposed along with a few others. Um, Chadwick Boseman, he shows up in this film in flashbacks because he is the one that they that they're going to find. He's their fallen squad leader, so they're going to help find him, his body, his remains, and bring him back to the States. And they already premised that in the beginning, so I'm not ruining anything. Jean Reno is the heavy in this film as well. He plays it, he's not in it often, but when he's in it, he's still kind of, you can tell, he has that slimy characteristic about him that you can't trust him. And well, will we? I don't know. But at the end of the day, though, this film is actually, and I'm gonna we're gonna talk about the top 20, top 10 of 2020. This film will appear in that. So it is a very good film. I gave this one, if I'm not mistaken, wholeheartedly 4.5 snowflakes.
Very strong, very strong. Yeah, I've been hearing nothing but like high praises for Del Orlando, which is cool because he's one of those actors that he reminds you every so often how good he is. But it's kind of cool to see him finally really getting something to sink his teeth into. And if the Oscars happen, I've heard maybe his name being thrown around, and just in general, I'm interested in the film. So that's cool to see that you dug it as well, especially as somebody who's not instantly hooked just on Spike.
Yeah, and if you would have told me it was anybody else, it would have been probably more open to it. But at first, that's why it took me at least 2 weeks to actually get into it, because I was like, I really like the actors, but I really don't like Spike Lee as much anymore. He does great films. Don't get me wrong, but like I've seen him, act and I just didn't like him lately. But this is a good thing for him, film wise, and it looks like everything is just a piece of it. He had he participated in writing this as well as directing. So it's it sounds like it may have been a labor of love for him. The next film, we're gonna go to a cruising altitude of 10,000 feet for this next film. Please put your trays in your upright position because 7,500 is the name of this movie. When terrorists seize control of a Berlin to Paris flight, a soft-spoken young American co-pilot struggles to save the lives of the passengers and its crew. Stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Amin Mimar, Alain Tezel, and Murthan Musla. So you got to see this. This is a Prime original, and I'll be reviewing this one next week as well. So one day we're going to get on the same pages. I think that's good. That'll be good. But it's nice to hear during the shows. So what did you think about this film? Because I'm really interested in this a lot.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. It's a very tight story. It literally begins on the plane, ends on the plane here. So you got a very secluded story here. JGL is your main dude. Big parts of it, you're alone with him or him and one other person here. You also, in the movie, find out very quickly his wife and mother. Actually, I don't know if they're married. Actually, I think they're not married. I think you're told. But anyway, his baby's mom was on the plane as well as a stewardess, so there's a bit of tension there as well. And there's some great dramatic moments in this. It's tense. It's very tense, but at the same time here, you can tell, at least for me, that it actually dragged, and that there's some decisions that were made simply to prolong this movie. At first it's very simple, and then obviously it gets intense. Starts pretty intense very quickly here. But I remember looking at it going, how can we go another 20, 30 minutes here? And some decisions kind of lost me, to be honest with you. And it kind of aggravates you a little bit here. I know some people might not like the ending. I was okay with the actual ending, but I think it could leave some people a little bit cold. But yeah, it's one of those films that I think it's worth checking out for JGL. I'm a big Joseph Gordon fan, so he's one of those people kind of like a Tom Hanks or Will Smith, where he can grab you as kind of the main protagonist, the only guy you're with for a good chunk of it. He can do that job correctly here. So there's some good, there's some little iffy here. I actually very much look forward to your review next week. So I kind of want to see if this grabbed you more as same or less than me, because right now, struggling between giving that extra half or not, but I'm just gonna stick with 3 here. This totally didn't grab me as much as I think it wanted to. I know my brother liked it even less than I did, but I can kind of tell it's based on his taste. But I'm gonna give it 3.
So, how long was this film? Was it over 2 hours or?
No, I don't think it's that long. But again, when you're dealing with kind of this one straight story, it did feel like it dragged. I don't know if it's an hour 30 or maybe even 40. I'd have to look. I'm not sure by heart, but it did
Because
feel a little dragged to me.
the only reason why I asked you is because I googled, I think, the flight from Paris, from Berlin to Paris, and they say it's like 2 hours and 54 minutes long. So I was like, well, maybe they do the whole film in the duration of the flight. That would be interesting. 3 hours almost in a film, unless you get a good headwind or a tailwind.
Well, I believe he does make an emergency landing. That is part of it.
Oh, okay. So
So no, it's actually not. It looks, according to Rotten Tomatoes, it's at 92 minutes. So it's only a little over an hour and a half.
So it's a perfect.
But just,
Hopefully, it's well paced for me. Then
yeah, some of the decisions, it's standing 70%, so it is kind of right at the. It's literally 2% above fresh or whatnot. So, like I said, I think it's still worth checking out, and I look forward to seeing what you think.
Yeah, I can't wait. So I'll again, we'll review that. You'll review the Bloods. So
My boy JGL. Let's wrap it up with one more that you saw, my man. Once Were Brothers, Robbie Robertson and the band. The story of a band that went from backing up Bob Dylan to becoming one of the most influential groups of its era. The film blends rare archival photography, iconic songs, and interviews with Robertson's friends and collaborators, including Martin Scorsese, Bruce Springsteen, Eric Clapton, Van Morrison, Bob Dylan, and more. I'm a fan of Bob Dylan, so tell me about this movie.
Okay, if you like the band, if you ever listen to the band, they have The Weight, and a few others, there's a lot of hits if you really go through their catalog. But yeah, I was a big fan of the band, and I didn't know they started out as a backup band, like the backup to Bob Dylan. Basically, he had him in the back seat, just because he wanted to change his tunes. From what he usually played. They discussed that, and they got booed off the stage almost every night. They got booed every night when they played with Bob Dylan. Because no one liked the drums and the electrical. They just liked all the acoustic stuff that Bob Dylan did prior. But he still helped him out, and he gave him advice. And Robbie Robertson is one of the 2 survivors of the band. The other ones have had issues in the past with they had alcoholism, drug addiction, things like that that cut their lives short. But it is a moving documentary. It's very good. It opens up aspects to even though this is told mostly on Robbie Robertson's biography that he wrote about the band, it does hit a few things. I'd like to hear what the piano organist Garth, but but they never brought him in at all during this filming. So I was kind of like wondering, where was he? Does he not want to talk about the band anymore? But yeah, at the end of the day, I found it a fascinating, riveting story, and just a good sneak peek behind one of the best successful bands that basically fizzled out before I think their time could have been. I think Taj Mahal said it properly when he was, he's one of the guests in the film, who I like his music as well. My brother actually, brought Taj Mahal into my life, but he's a great writer, guitar player, and he said basically if the Americans were to have a version of the Beatles, this would be them, and it is true in my opinion as well as his, and maybe more. Scorsese had a great take on The Last Waltz because he was invited to do it, direct that film. It was the last ever get together with the band, and like I said, that was awesome. If you haven't ever seen the Last Waltz with the band, you're missing something. It's just a great concert, just live, and it's just great. So this one right here, I was very happy to watch it. I've been wanting to see it. It's on Hulu now, so there's no excuse. So you can't not see it unless you don't subscribe to Hulu. I gave this 4 snowflakes, and it's just very educational. I think every week coming up, I'm going to be watching a documentary once a week. So I'll have a new documentary every week. I'm going to actually just do that now because
And
I
I'm gonna
enjoy it.
match you and watch none. So
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. But yeah, there.
actually,
I
I have
just.
a wrestling documentary next week for you. So
Oh, I can't wait. Is it a good one? I mean, well,
it's
we'll
good so
talk off
far.
it.
About halfway there.
Is,
It's on
is there?
Amazon. It's called The Last. No, Magnum's Opus. Yeah.
Oh, is it on Prime or do I
hmm
have to buy? Oh,
Right on
you know
Prime,
what?
baby.
I might.
Magnum's Opus. It's about Magnum CK, his rise in the independence, and then his sudden. Well, you'll see.
You know what? I will watch that now that you told me, and I can put that in as my documentary of the week. So perfect. So we'll just do that from now on. I'm going to do it. There's so many documentaries out there I've been wanting to watch, and I'm going to start watching them and putting them into the show. So there you
I'll
go.
watch some wrestling ones. There's at least a couple actually on Prime. You always got to search Prime. You never know what pops up on Prime. They don't announce it very much. So like every time you'll just see, oh, that's on here. So that was
Yeah,
our movie week. Dutch, you saw a couple TV shows. Talk to me about some television.
well, I decided for some reason to watch the first show that we're going to talk about. It's called Hook, and basically it's about two boxing families who don't get along, but their children forge a bond. It's a South Korean film.
It's not about Peter Pan.
No, no, not Hook. I'm talking. This is boxing, and it's kind of like a comedy. They do have sound effects sometimes in it, which throws me for a loop. It's like somebody could do something wrong, goes bang, and I'm like, oh really? I've never heard this before. In a show that seems to be wanting to take itself seriously and be comedic at the same time. It's a weekly show, meaning we won't see all the episodes stacked like we normally would because we're getting them as soon as they air over in South Korea. They're relaying them over to here in Netflix, and then we're watching them like maybe a day or so behind. So it's like every Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember when it drops. So the first episode though was pretty interesting. It's just a setup more or less. And I really don't know where to come with this yet, but I just wanted to say it's out there. If you're into the Korean shows, don't know how I got told about it through Netflix, but I guess they told me that it was something I'd be interested in, so I gave it a shot. So that was that. So that was Hook.
Now tell me about this next one because I'm actually interested because I did enjoy the movie back in the day, and it's based. Is it based on the movie and the books?
It's mostly based on the books. You're correct. It's called The Babysitter's Club, and I remember reading these back when I was a kid, I believe, or something. I don't know how old I was when they came out. When did they come out? I don't even know. But I
Well, I
remember.
don't know. I'm a '90s kid, so I know I grew up with them, and like my sister listened to or read them as well. So I don't know if
Okay,
it
so
was
they
before,
could have been
but
for a while. I don't know how I came across them. Maybe somebody had them and I just read them. My cousin maybe had them. But I didn't read all the books, but I read a few, and I thought, I'm interested. Let's give this a shot and see what because hey, we're reviewers. We like to watch anything most of the time. So I turned it on. I'm not very familiar with the cast, but one of the lead girls, she's very annoying in this. The first episode, I want to get rid of her. The first episode because she's so bossy. That one right there, that one. But yeah, it's just basically about a bunch of tweens getting together, trying to find a way to make money in a area where they. You know who Alicia Silverstone plays the mother in this series. I always want to say films because we talk so much films. And lately, we've just been doing series as well. But again, Netflix has put it in there. There's the guy from the Royal Tent of the Royal Pain, the lead from the Royal Pains, is
Mark
also
Fierstein.
yes. He plays the almost to be stepdad. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm actually enjoying the show. The first show was a little rough for me because when they make the lead girl very annoying, you're like, oh, hopefully they just throw her out. But then I'm like, well, no, she's going to be around for a while. She's the one who's they're centering this whole story about. But they straighten it up, and each episode is told from that person's perspective. So there's 4 girls so far. I've watched 3 episodes, and the 4th one seems it'll be carried over to the 4th girl's perspective about what is going on during this Babysitters Club. I find it's great for kids. I think it'll be great for families. I don't really have any stars for her because we don't usually do a lot of that. But I give it a thumbs. Okay, I'll give it something, but I won't give it a thumbs up because that's copyright. So I'll give it a ho ho. I guess that means good, right? Ho 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 ho. I'll give it a Titus thing.
Why are you barking at this show?
I'm trying to figure out something other than a thumbs up, Okay, Snowflakes.
I'm just going to introduce barking on the show now.
Titus O'Neil. Ho, ho, ho.
Yes, and I'm sure 5% of the audience does as well.
That's all right. That's all right. Yeah, I go watch it. Basically, go out and watch it. I give it a thumbs up on the Netflix platform.
I don't have much to add. I will add this. I just started watching You. Have you seen You on Netflix?
No. What is that?
It's good. It's season 2. There's 2 seasons. I'm on season 2, and season 3 has been announced. Season 1 is about a guy who kind of has Dexter vibes. He really falls in love with a girl and really falls in love with her. He starts stalking her.
The
and
stalker shit. Okay, yeah, I've heard about it. This is the one with the Chris Eldebid or Elbid, whatever. He's in the second season. He's in the second season.
Oh, Chris D'Elia. Okay, what was he? Whatever name. Chris Elderbridge. No, I don't know, but Chris D'Elia. I haven't gone to him yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't seen Chris D'Elia yet. But first season is really good. Penn Badgley from Gossip Girl is really good in this. He's one of those characters, like, you should hate this character, but he has just the writing. This is one of those things where I'm like, man, a good script can just really elevate things because, and this is what hooks you with some fun twists here. I had a lot of fun with season 1. And season 2 has a fun twist on it as well. So I don't know where we can go for season 3, but I probably would have said that for season 2 as well. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I don't know did I talk about this last week? The show Dark. Did I talk about that? Okay, good. Second season, I'm enjoying so far. So yeah, I that's a good one, man. I love it. So, but anyway, so what else we got for us? There's no more television. Do you have any more television to talk?
No. I just wanted to throw that out there because I'm a little behind on it, but I know my brother actually he binged it pretty quickly and he recommended it, and I've had coworkers recommend it to me, so just wanted to pass that along because now we're going to talk about, Jim, the first half of 2020 is over, man.
What?
We're doing the I have no words today, man. But we're doing the halfway checkup point here. We're going to do our top 10 movies of 2020. So far of the first half. We're
doing the physical of the movie. We're just testing. We're making them. We're turning their heads, making them cough, and we're going to tell them what's the top 10 of the great parts of their body is.
Obviously, this has been a weird year because if things had played out differently, Black Widow, I think 007 maybe, Tenet, Quiet Place, who knows what could have been on this list here, so many more. We didn't get those movies, so it's a weird one because it is kind of a limited list. My top 10 definitely would not have been my top 10. I can almost guarantee that.
I'll be honest, some of mine would have been my top 10 still.
I'd say 1 and 2 maybe. 3 to 5, maybe 6 to 10. I doubt it. I feel like the other ones would have etched it out, but who knows? I mean, there's no way of knowing where New Mutants would have landed or where any of those would have landed. There might have snuck in. So I'm looking forward to this list here.
Yeah, that's good.
Kick it off, man. What do you want to do, man? Tell me your 10.
I can go first if you want, but I just want to say our list will not match. I can guarantee our list will not match today because that is. Oh, man. Well, my number 10, and by the way, it would never make it any other time in any other world, Birds of Prey. That is my number 10. Margot Robbie and the gang playing, Ewan McGregor, Batman's nemesis Harley Quinn.
Here's a bet for you, Jim. I'll give you $5 if you can give me the full title right now.
I think it's the Emancipation of Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, or Birds of Prey.
No,
or is it the wrong way? Birds of Prey?
You flipped it. Plus, you forgot the Fantabulous. So, they're still in my pocket.
Yeah, I know. And I didn't make the bet, but I just thought I could try to make it. But yeah, I forgot about the Fantabulous part of it. Why do I know I saw it?
And I believe it's also, I don't know if you said of one Harley Quinn, not just of Harley Quinn. I don't know. Even I might not have it correct. So, anywho, Birds of Prey is your number 10. Sorry.
Yeah. Either way, number 10 is Birds of Prey. What do you got for me on the number 10 for you?
I might be talking about Birds of Prey a little bit later, actually. My number 10 is The Photograph. Lakeith Stanfield. Yeah, I thought this was a very fun. That's where I said again, I doubt this would have made my 10, but I enjoyed it. I think it's a well-made film worth checking out here. Some good, kind of the Notebook flashback storytelling with love. Some great performances here. You'll know if I'm saying that correctly in the flashbacks, and yeah, everyone does really good in this. It's a very comfortable film, and I enjoyed it.
I liked it at the time. I know I did, and I don't have it on my list because I'll be honest, I think I forgot to say I watched it. So I forgot to put it on my actual main list. And when you see it, I said, "Did it come out?" No, that was another movie. That was something else. Okay, so that makes me go to number 9, Blow the Man Down on Amazon Prime, original from them. It was a good film. Like I said, it would probably not be on my top 10 normally, but this film was pretty good. It was 2 girls kill somebody and they try to get away with it, and we'll see what happens with their shenanigans in the town that's been corrupt for years now will be uncorrupt, so we'll see. But yeah, no, Blow the Man Down, Prime original, that's my number 9.
I meant to put this back from before, but here's just an example of what 2020 was supposed to look like. Some of these came out, some of these didn't.
Yeah, you're covering Big Ben behind you.
I know, my buddy. I'm going to talk about my buddy pretty soon. Oh, and just to prove the point, here's my cat. I knew he'd come later. My number 10 is actually the Hulu OG, Big Time Adolescence, Griffin Gluck, the first Pete Davidson growing up comedy of the year that we saw for the first of 2. Yeah, I enjoyed this one here. A good eclectic cast, decent enough romp, good storytelling. Yeah, Big Time Adolescence is my number 9.
My number 8, we went a little further back in the 18th century, I believe, and that was to watch Emma. Emma was actually a pretty good film all the way around. I thought it was one of my, earlier, I think it was February or something like that, February, March? February, I believe it was. And it was one of the best films of February that I saw. I still kind of enjoy it. The performances that still carry with me. I still remember Bill Nye, just basically, trying to prohibit himself from dying by, trying to be hot, it's too much breeze, cover it, I still remember some of those scenes. So yeah, that is fondly at number 8, Emma.
My number 8, and now we're going over to Netflix for me, and I'm gonna be one of the only people that probably enjoyed this because I just thought the action scenes were so well put together, and I enjoyed the lead. That's Extraction with Chris Hemsworth, man. I thought he was a badass. I thought, like I said, I enjoyed these kind of lengthier action scenes. Reminded me a little bit of Daredevil at its best. And yeah, it was simple storytelling of getting from point A to point B with a child. I thought they did enough backwards or a little background on each character here, and enough to where, again, different time, different year. I don't think this would have cracked it, but in this year, my number 8 is Extraction.
Well, that brings us to number 7, which I'm going to give your boy Ben a little props because I'm going the way back. That film was actually right before the closure of all theaters. I don't think it got enough time. I think it was like way early March, I think, whenever they started this, right? Yeah, I think it was March before we closed down, like in mid-March. And maybe even February, late February, early March. And to me, this film is great. The way he portrayed an alcoholic is just, of course, pulled it from his own pages, but it was just beautifully done. It was just a good film, a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And I like the fact that they didn't stay with the basketball. They just stayed with the story. And that's more important. I think at the end of the day, the story was more focused on the characters that were needed to be focused on and not just like some rah-rah Hoosiers type show. That's what I loved about it. That was so different. And it just made it more unique for a sports film. If you want to call it a sports film, you can. So what do you got for number 7, my good man? Hey, how you doing, buddy? Bye.
My number 7 movie is Standing Up, Falling Down with the ever wonderful Ben Schwartz and Billy Crystal. I was supposed to get a Ben Schwartz t-shirt in the mail this week. I found out they canceled my order. How dare you? That's besides the point here. Just sad that I don't have a Ben Schwartz t-shirt as I thought I would by now. I love this film. It's a small film about a struggling stand-up comedian. He's at a standing still point in his life. My cat's the one that just moved over my computer. And Billy Crystal's wonderful in this, man. I often wonder, like, when these actors don't get enough roles, and we go years without seeing Billy Crystal, and then he has something like this. I love the ending. The ending had me cracking up. Good callback ending, and yeah, I just thought this was a sweet, well told story. Some good character work from two comedians that I think are just wonderful. One in his prime, and one who's one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, and I believe I brought that to your attention, if I'm not mistaken. Did I
So you
not?
got to before me. You got to be a
Yeah.
couple months, I think, before me. So
Yeah, and I like I said, I enjoyed that film a lot. And it didn't crack my top 10 still. So see, so far we're so far off. We're so far away. But number 6 is probably where I'm going to bring you back a little bit to my fold. The Invisible Man. You brought me to this film. You said, Dutch, you're going to love it. And I said, no, I'm not. It's a horror film. I hate horror films. You know I do. Damn good movie. Elizabeth Moss. I haven't seen her do that in a long time. Hold my attention since what do you call it? Mad Men. So yeah, I found it. I haven't watched The Handmaid's Tale, so I'm not gonna
I
watch
was gonna
something.
say you're not watching enough Elizabeth Moss, man, because
No, I'm not.
she's
I'm
doing some
not.
good stuff.
Yeah, that's what I heard. But I enjoyed that film. She actually come out and said she may do a sequel. Ooh, I don't know, but I don't know. You can see how they could, but it's well worth it. It's so off the wall different than the normal Invisible Man film that you would thought it would have been. That's what made it so great. The differentials of just a mad scientist and being corrupt. No, it's not. It's totally different. If you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. Number 6, Invisible Man.
My number 6, they are the gentlemen above me. It's the gentleman, Matthew McConaughey, Charlie Hunnam, great cast here. Guy, help me
Guy
out
Ritchie.
here.
Guy Ritchie.
I was gonna say Guy Pearce, but I knew that wasn't right. He's doing what he does best here. Is it his best work? No, but is it super competent and an enjoyable ride? Absolutely. Here, like I said, Charlie Hunnam. Maybe I've never enjoyed him more. Colin Farrell has you laughing pretty much every time he pops up. Hugh Grant. I mean, I could literally probably go through this whole cast and say, "Oh wow, he was really good. Oh wow, he was really good." Funny enough, one of the more charismatic actors, Matthew McConaughey, is a little bit more subdued in this, but he's really good in what the role requires as well here. So, yeah, the gentleman, I almost want to say surprised me just because based on some of his more recent work, but it shouldn't have surprised me because he's back in his wheelhouse, and it's a good film.
Yeah, it was a great film, and I wish I would have thought about that one a little bit more. I would probably watch it again, but I did love it when I saw it, and it brought back my favorite word and made it more vogue every day. So but my number 5, I'm going to Netflix. It's original. It's Crip Camp, a disability revolution, in which it's a documentary. It's built on the the disability rights of the disabled people. It was part of that driving force for the American Disabilities Act. But this was like a camp in which they all went to, and people they basically treated them as if they were not crippled, and those kids remember that for the rest of their lives in the late 50s to early 60s. Even beyond, they had a bond with each other after all that as well. So it's a sweet story, touching story. If you haven't seen it, I do say you should watch it, and it'll open your eyes to something that you've never probably been exposed to. And but yeah, it's number 5, Crip Camp. It's just a great movie, great documentary film.
My number 5, I'm gonna be doing a few callbacks now in this top 5 actually. My number 5 is Birds of Prey, semicolon Harley Quinn. Yeah, there's some storytelling parts that are a little askew in this, and the ending's a little underwhelming. But I had a lot of fun from the opening scene here. Margot Robbie is fantastic in this role here, and there's just a lot. It's very quick. It's fun. Maybe I have it a little high. Again, I feel like this definitely would have fallen a little bit farther if other things had been released. But for right now, Birds of Prey, I say it sits pretty nicely at number 5.
Okay, mine is number 4. It was another Netflix exclusive, Tiger Tail. about a gentleman who's basically reminisces about his old life and what could have been and should have been, and his relationship with his daughter, where he realizes that yes, he's letting that slide because he's still kind of begrudging, against the road not taken. And to me, it was just fantastic performances all around. I wish I had names written down because this
Bruce Willis.
should be no Bruce Willis, Mel Gibson. But yeah, no, it's no. Tiger Tail was unbelievably good. It was just poignant, sweet. Made me tear up in spots. It's just a good film that you have no excuse if you have Netflix, you have no excuse not to watch it. It's going to be an award. It's got to be nominated for something. If it's not, then shame on the Academy.
I have Netflix and number 4, Onward. We're going onward now with the movie Onward here. Just another beautifully well done animated film here. It's got heart, it's got humor, it's got a nice little world that they're building here. It's not my favorite of their films, but it's still totally an enjoyable ride here. It's now on Disney Plus, another one that if you haven't seen, if you have that streaming service, check it out. It has pretty decent replay value as well. My number 4, Onward.
Well, my number 3, I discussed it probably about less than a week or maybe 2 weeks ago on the show. Driveways, Brian Dennehy's last film. Still, that last scene, I've actually fast-forwarded it because I do own it. I fast-forward to the very last scene in which he discusses, his life and his future. And it still makes me tear up. I mean, it's such a great scene. This is just a great sweet note to go out on. If you're going to be an actor, this is what you want. It's almost like James Gandolfini and the Julie Louis-Dreyfus film. What was the name of that one? Do you remember off the top?
Downhill?
No. That was not.
Oh, enough said. I don't know. I don't know Julie Dreyfus. I half listened.
Yeah. It was half listen. God bless America. No. Yeah. Enough said. And to me, that was a great note. If you were going to have a note to go out on, I think James Gandolfini, would be proud to go out on that note. Because it was a good film. But yeah, this again was Driveways, very touching story about a young boy and his mom and the next door neighbor who's Brian Dennehy. Watch it if you have not. I always say it. Just watch it. Just do it. Just pull the trigger.
You're very abusive in your reviews. If you don't watch it, you have no excuse, and you're a terrible human.
Pretty funny.
The end. But no, I figured that would be on your top 10. I was waiting for that to creep out because I remember your good review from like you said a week or two ago. My number 3 is we're revisiting good old Pete Davidson getting through his problems here. The King of Staten Island, the Judd Apatow version. That's a lot more expensive over on video on demand. I really like this. Some people say it's too long. I'll always argue, especially when you're at home. You can take a break. You can go pee. You can have dinner. Come back. Watch it like a TV show. Like I want, especially if you're gonna pay $20, I want a 3-hour movie. So I enjoyed this, man. Here, it's got the typical humor, heart, some really funny scenes. Again, I mentioned before, even with the other movies, a good cast. This has, as always, a great friend cast. He always seems to have fun, and it's 3 people that you might not know much of, too. Again, and then I'm sure we'll see much more of in the future. I like his friends, and yeah, I enjoyed this quite a bit. The King of Staten Island is my number 3.
Hey, you know what? For the kids playing at home, that's 2 Pete Davidsons in the top 10. That's never happened before in any game.
Top 10 Pete Davidson movies next week.
Top 10 Pete. Could the Rookie be a part of that? I know it's a television show, but he was in it. He was in it.
Oh, that's right. He was in that. Yeah.
He was the brother of Nathan Fillion. Let me go here. Number 2. We actually just talked about it on the show tonight. The Five Bloods. It is number 2 on my list. It just made it right. I was just so happy to see it. But again, like I said, it's on my top 10 now. It's at number 2. It could be pushed down later if we get all the balls rolling and everything goes well. I'm still looking for that one over your top. I believe it's your top left shoulder. from On Your Side,
Oh
the Pink
yeah,
Copperfield film. I really
Copperfield.
want. I want that so badly, but I just don't know how to get to it. They should just put that on video on demand. They'll get my 20 for that. But yeah, so the Five Bloods, number 2 on my list.
My number two, we're doing a callback from earlier. You said I dragged you into it, and I dragged myself smiling the whole way. The Invisible Man. I love this new take. If you're gonna do something different with a concept that we've seen before, we've seen other people do rip-offs of. You got to come up with something new and different, and they did, and they did it. I thought executed it really well. As you said, Elizabeth Moss, who I think is absolutely killing it.
Yeah.
Her Smell, I saw that pretty recently. She's a tour de force in it. I forgot it was the one with Mark Duplass that I really loved. The only one I loved, maybe. She's great in that, and of course, Hands Made in Tell. So she leads this. Yeah, like I said, just a really taut thriller here. I don't want a sequel just because you said you could see how it could be done. Yeah, maybe, but I kind of feel like this could be great on a standalone. But at the same time, I'll explore it if they went with it, of course. So number two, Invisible Man.
Yeah, I was actually thinking Shirley. She just came out with as well,
Mm.
and I hear some good things about that. That's on Hulu now. If you want to go watch that, so it's probably going to be on my list next week to review. So I have it on my movies I gotta watch before theaters open, I guess. But my number one, this one is a sci-fi film, Amazon again, original. The Vast of Night. I had a glowing review about it, probably about like four shows ago, I believe, and a 51 show. I think it was the 51st show. I think, and it is so well done. So it pulls you in from the beginning, and it just doesn't let you up. It keeps that tension building and rising, and they don't show you anything. They don't show you anything, and you're like, give me something, give me something. And when they give you a little, then they take it away, and then at the end they show you stuff. But the build up, just the payoff, is still not good enough because I want to know what happened. But I could figure out what happened. But it's just a great film to build suspense layer by layer. A great dialogue, well acted. It is just a great movie to go out and watch. If you want a good snuggle date, this is it. This is one of the ones that you can have a good snuggle with, and be
Tell me when, Dutch.
just tension alone will make whoever you want to snuggle with a little bit snugger. So yeah, watch this movie. As always, watch it. No excuse.
You know what? I thought about clicking on this the other night when I was almost instead of in 7,500 or at the same or after or before, and so yeah, if it's your number one, I'll try to get to it. I've heard other good reviews here. Breakfast All Day, one of my favorite movie podcasts. They enjoyed it. Shout out to them. I love you, Alfonso, Matt, and Christy. I aspire to be you. And so yeah, they enjoyed it. So yeah, this one I'll have to check out here. It's a good number one, but it's not my number one. My
What is
number
your number one?
Where is he? He's behind me. Ben Affleck, The Way Back. This was two way back on your list, in my opinion. No. Yeah, I just think this thing it's a gripping tale. As you said, I actually have a friend he's like I never saw it because I thought it was Coach Carter all over again. I'm like, no, it's really not about like trying to help the youth. That's a part of it. But it's much more about battling depression and alcoholism. And there's a scene in it towards the endish or halfway where he's orders a beer and he's staring at it, man, and it's the most intense. Like you're just like, no, don't pick up that drink, and you're just rooting for this character here, and you understand, you find more about his past and what's led him to this here. It's close to Ben Affleck in real life. He is so freaking good in this. In a weird way, COVID might have helped his chances of getting an Oscar nomination because if there's less movies that come out by then, maybe this will stay in the conversation more than it would have if it had just been, normal, over February release and forgotten about by next year. Because I think he is so good in this. This movie is so good. This is one that I do feel would stay in my top 5 or 10 at least, no matter what had came out. Yeah, The Way Back for me is something that really tugged to me and I really enjoyed. Obviously, a lot.
Yeah, and like I said, I agree with you. It's number 7, which I know is further back than what you want it to
Anything,
be.
it's on top 10, man. I can argue.
But if I'll be honest, if I would have seen a few of them, it could have been in the top 5 easily. And that's what I'm saying. That film could have been in the top 5, easily. And like you said, you're probably true when it comes down to it. If not enough good performances show up in the latter part of the year, we're gonna see Ben hopefully get a shot out of it. Hopefully we're gonna see what's his name as well. God, who we just talked about tonight. Oh my goodness.
Orlando?
Yes. So if we
Ben
can see
Schwartz
him,
as Sonic.
we're gonna see Ben Schwartz get nominated, maybe Billy Crystal. But yeah, I think Delroy Lindo has a good shot at it. Things like that. I would like to see, like I said, we're gonna have to see how the Academy handles this.
And the nominees are Vin Diesel, Bloodshot.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Bad Boys for Life.
Robert Downey Jr., Dr. Doolittle.
Doolittle. Oh, God.
Yeah, just Doolittle, wasn't it? Yeah. But yeah, that would be the worst that could ever happen to anybody.
And Pete Davidson twice. So let's run through our top 10 movies of 2020 so far, the first half of the year. My number 10 is The Photograph. Number 9, Big Time Adolescence. Number 8, Extraction. Number 7, Standing Up, Falling Down. Number 6, The Gentleman. Number 4, Birds of Prey. Yada yada. Number 4, Onward. Number 3, The King of Staten Island. Number 2, The Invisible Man. And number 1, The Way Back. Jim, let's go way back to your list. What's your 10 for 2020 so far?
My number 10 is Birds of Prey. Number 9, Blow the Man Down. Number 8, Emma. Number 7, The Way Back. Number 6, The Invisible Man. Number 5, Quip Camp, A Disability Revolution. Number 4, Tiger Tail. Number 3, Driveways. Number 2, The Five Bloods, and number 1, The Vast of Night. So that's our top 10, my good man.
Yeah, buddy.
So we're coming down to my best part. My best part of this whole show. It's called the news and the notable stuff.
No, news and notables.
Breaking news.
No, so we got some news and notables here for you. Have you seen the new trailer for An American Pickle?
No, is this the Rick Sanchez biography?
No, it's about Seth Rogen. Falls into pickle brine juice and wakes up 100 years later, totally fine. And he meets his great descendant and tries to guide him. So it looks kind of weird and wacky. It looks like it might be a little more serious than your normal movie. I didn't see that many familiar faces either, which is interesting. So it will be on HBO Max, though, coming a little bit later. So An American Pickle. I know, HBO Max.
I already subscribed to too many things, man. I can't keep subscribing to everything.
Here's a sequel I bet you never thought was going to happen. Half-Baked 2 is in the works. I guess the guy that stars on MacGyver is writing it. And, of course, Dave Chappelle is probably going to absolutely not be involved. Maybe they throw enough money, maybe a cameo, but right now it's being developed without him. Probably about his son, supposedly. So, yeah, Half-Baked 2 is actually might be coming to a theater near you. Jim, you smoke a lot of pot. Are you excited?
What? Who does what? I just heard something crash. I have no idea what that was. No, well. Something crashed in my house. I have no idea what it was. There's no glass, so that's always a good sign. I just don't know what that was that fell. Oh, wow.
Jim, who's behind you?
It's my donkey.
I know you're a big fan of this character. Ned, Steven Sobolowski, says the Groundhog's Day TV show is in the works. Would you be interested in a Groundhog's Day TV show? And let me ask you this. Would you be interested in a Groundhog's Day TV show? And hey, Jim, Groundhog's Day TV show, you in?
I heard there was a Groundhog TV show. I heard there was a Groundhog TV show, and
Have you heard?
I've heard. Yes. No, I have not heard. I'm kind of wishy-washy because you can't do it all the time. I don't know. No, I probably won't be watching it, or I will turn it on one time. But okay, I'll watch it once. I'll watch the first episode. If it doesn't suck me in, it's gone. Because I can't give that much of my time.
I give this 2, because then you got to see how they do it differently.
No, can't do it. Sorry, just can't do it. If the chemistry's not there, I can't do it.
And it's well written. I think it has potential. TV shows have tried doing this before. I don't know if you remember. I think Tate Diggs had a TV show, an action version that it was the same thing. He woke up every day. We're seeing one with Andy Samberg in movie form here on Hulu in a couple of weeks. I'll renew my Hulu. Maybe I'll see some of
that. That I will watch because that's a good take on it. It looks like it's going to be a decent take.
The opposite now of that story is Mackenzie Davis, who was a recent Terminator, says, Dark Fate sequel is probably not happening. She was very blunt in an interview saying it doesn't look like there's any progress because of the box office and whatnot. So that's probably the last we're going to see of Linda Hamilton, Mackenzie Davis, and whatnot. The opposite of that now, though, is Sam Neill, Laura Dern, and Jeff Goldblum. Recently in an interview with Sam Neill, he did say that this will be not just a cameo in the next Jurassic World movie. I believe it's called Jurassic World Dominion. A lot of people were a little upset at the last one when they were hyping Jeff Goldblum and he's in the courtroom scene for one scene. Neil just does say they're in it throughout the whole thing. So hopefully we get a little bit more of these characters. This is the first time, I think since the first one that we're seeing Laura Dern, maybe? Yeah, she might have been the third one.
First time since she's been, I don't think she was at the part 3. I don't think there was
somebody in the third one that's only in it for one scene on the phone or something. But
I think that was Laura. Yeah, it was Laura Dern briefly trying to get a phone call, and that was it. No one got.
Yeah, so it's the first time she's really in the thick of it. First one since the third one since Neil was in it. He skipped the second one, and Goldberg was in the first 2, and briefly the last one here. So I'm into it. I'm very much okay with those films. They're again kind of the epitome of, fun night at the theaters, but they're never in my top 10. They're very much like a 2.5 or 3 for me tops. So I'm a little more intrigued with those 3 again in the world. Netflix has acquired the rights to Aaron Sorkin's Trial of the Chicago 7 for $56 million. Not too much of a bad buckaroo there. Check out this cast, by the way. I'm looking forward to this because this to me screams like an actor's paradise. I'm sure, and especially with Aaron Sorkin writing it, this might be some good stuff. This features Sacha Baron Cohen, Eddie Redmayne, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Jeremy Strong, Mark Rylance, Michael Keaton, Frank Langella, and John Carroll Lynch. I mean, tell me that's not bound to be some good monologues, some good acting classes right there.
Well, let's hope it's going to be good. I mean, because they're paying $57 million for this show. My God, that's a ton of money just to be throwing at somebody.
Hey man, I mean it's Aaron Sorkin, it's Michael Keaton, it's a cast like that. I'd pay $12.
You put at least $12 in on it just to get it going.
Speaking of 2 of the greatest actors of our generation, Beavis and Butthead are coming back. That's right, Beavis and Butthead they've signed a 2-season order for Comedy Central. Mike Judge will indeed return as a writer and voicing the 2 main characters. Hey Jim, are you a fan?
No, not at all.
Oh man, I like Beavis and Butthead.
I was never a fan. I just didn't think it was that. I was more of a fan of King of the Hill than I was that.
Dang it, Bobby.
Yeah.
Propane and propane accessories.
Damn you.
So your name is not Conhorlio, and you don't need TP for your bunghole?
No, who uses TP anymore? There's no such thing as toilet paper out there, is there?
Hey, did you look at the TV show Lost?
I love the show Lost. What about it?
Did you hear Damon Lindelof in an interview recently said that the original plan before we became super duper famous and made money for the network, the original plan was to finish it in 3 seasons. They had a story to end in 3. Do you think they should have stayed that route, or do you think it wore out its welcome? What do you think? It might have been a little tighter if they ended in 3 or 4.
Did they? How many seasons they have? 8 or something like that?
6 or 7. 6.
Okay. Yeah, I think a good series like Lost could wrap itself up in 4 easily. Or I like the 10 episode deals anymore. Where you can, you don't have 22 episodes to stretch. So I think that's kind of rough on television writers. I think you know coming out with 22 episodes that often, but again, the ratings were too high to say no to the money. They were flapping at them probably, and you know they had to probably expand their story. But yeah, I think that's you know it might have been better. Who knows? It might have been a more of a tight story, like you say, to finish up.
That's what I'm thinking. And yeah, I was right. It was six seasons.
Yeah, probably about a season and a half too long.
I'd agree with you here. And hey, again, a very good segue here. A show that does know when to maybe get out of the area. Ozark has been renewed for a fourth season, and that's it. Season 4 will indeed be the end of the Jason Bateman series for Netflix. It is though an extended season. It'll be 14 episodes instead of the usual 10, so you have 4 extra episodes than the normal season. But it'll be split into 2. So if you're looking to binge all 14, no, my friend. You'll get 7, I believe it'll be split into 2, so I'm guessing 7, and then maybe X amount of months later, the last 7. So,
which I think that's fitting. That's fitting, you know, for a show like that. It's very good, and you know they know when to call it, you know, a day, and a lot of showrunners need to understand. Yeah, they can keep throwing money at you, and I understand money is great to have, but you know if your art's gonna suffer, you know, I'm more for the art.
We're going 40 seasons, baby. Show by shows. I'm going until you dead. Or me. Let's be honest.
You just have to remind me. I'll be like in the Notebook. You'll be cuddled up in the bed with me going, Dutch, don't you remember? And I'll be like, I don't remember a thing.
Tell me about that documentary you saw just now.
Which one?
Well, my last bit of news here is one that's near and dear to me because I love it. Because this show is pretty good. That's Curb Your Enthusiasm. Has been renewed for season 11 on HBO. I'm excited. I love this show. Last season had a great kind of callbacks to the Spites. The Spite Store. I thought it was a great callback. The season finale too with the Jonah Hill cameo was hilarious. The things what they did with him. I've always loved Curb Your Enthusiasm. I even binged almost the entire series, or at least like 4 seasons of it anyway, before the new season this year, just cause again. So yeah, Curb Your Enthusiasm's coming back. I'm excited. Dutch, do you have anything you want to give me?
No, I don't. For the first time in a while, I have no idea what to say other than you did a great job, sir. You filled us with information, and you filled us with a lot of knowledge that we may not have gotten anywhere else.
Oh, you stop.
You stop. And plus, I just maybe I feel great because it is 4th of July.
It is right. For another 5 minutes here, according to my laptop, we have 4th of July left. Hopefully, you're having a safe, fun time if you're out and about, you know, hopefully at your home or just being safe. Whatever you do, no judgment here. Dutch judges you a little bit. I try not to.
I judge you all the time. Wear a freaking mask, people. Sorry.
Well, we'll be back here, you know, whether it's here in my studio and Dizzle's studio. We'll see. Bi-weekly it changes here.
You know, this week we may or may not be on location. For me, I might be away.
Oh.
You know, I'll keep you posted. You know, we may be off. I'm not sure yet. We'll keep you posted. Check the Twitter feed. But I do, you know, I may be up in Tampa this weekend. So, you know, I'll do the show from there. Why not? They got Wi-Fi. I got a computer. I got everything going here, so we can do it. So, you know, we can be on location. Woo, somewhere else. So my bunker will be different.
We'll have a different background. I hope everyone's excited for that next week.
Absolutely. No, this is my real background. We'll see what's happening next time. We might have a dog. Huh?
Oh.
Take that. 2 cats. We have 2 cats. A dog.
My dog here did not like the 4th of July.
No. Dogs do not like 4th of July. They do not. And hopefully
very sad because I was like, you're not very patriotic. Shut up.
He's like, I don't care. I want them all to die. But no, I don't even like
Canadian.
Them. I have neighbors. Well, if you're Canadian, you would have celebrated earlier this week for Canada Day.
I was lighting off poppers earlier this week. I was like, what are you doing?
But no, I mean, my neighbors, they will be shooting them off until like 4 in the morning. So I kind of have to just kind of get over that. So. You know.
Yeah,
But anyway,
you have those neighbors that are like, "We're never gonna stop. It's your last."
yeah,
I started. I don't know for you. I mean, I definitely heard some going last night too. It's your last third. What are you doing?
we spent $1,500 on these things. We're gonna use every one of them. You know.
I don't know why you had to go country on me, but hey, man.
Oh, I just did it. Anywho, I am Dutch McAllister, along with my tag team colleague,
Jordan Pierce Owens.
and we wish you nothing but the best for you and yours. Wear a mask, be safe, be reasonable, stay 6 feet away from me when you're in my line, for Christ's sake. What about you, Jordan?
Maybe you're a firework. Come on, show you how. I don't know the lyrics.
Okay, I don't know either. But, that was good.
Katy Perry, call me.